Hello good people, you're welcome to my channel. Still your own boy MC Bernardino. Yes, for those of you that are just coming to this channel, this is Canada Immigration with MC Bernardino, where I basically dish out information as far as migrating to Canada. Are you outside Canada, you want to come into Canada, you don't know how to go about it? Stay tuned to this channel. I always give out the information. Alright, so there are many people out there outside Canada planning on coming into Canada. Do you really think it's worth coming into Canada? Do you have a very thriving good business back home wherever you're coming from, and at the point in time you're contemplating on coming to Canada, whether it will be worth it to leave your job, leave your good salary, leave your good life, and come into Canada to start again with your family? So you know, I'm going to stay tuned today. I'll be telling you reason why coming to Canada might not be worth it in the first place. So I'll be back with you. Stay glued.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Yeah, my disclaimer as always, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a consultant. I basically dish out information freely because I know the importance of information, right? So if you want to get latest information as far as migrating to Canada is concerned, stay glued to my channel. Alright, and if you want to make your own decision too, feel free to do that. I'm just here to guide you. Don't base all your immigration decision on just this channel alone. I'm just here to guide you, to support you. You're free to do your own additional research. If you have any question or anything you're not clear about, I'm here for you guys. Come on, drop the comment in the comment section below. I will always be here to help you out. And for those of you that are new on this channel, you haven't subscribed, you're just stumbling on this channel for the first time, feel free to take some few seconds, subscribe to this channel. There's a notification bell beside the subscription button. Click on it so that anytime I drop a video, you'll be among the first to get it. And don't forget, if you enjoy this video, cost you nothing, hit on the likes button. Thank you very much. Alright, let's get down to business. Is it worth coming into Canada? Yes, that's what I will be discussing with you guys today. I've been in Canada for the last 6 years now, and I can categorically tell you if it's actually worth coming into Canada or not. Alright, hypothetically, let's talk about the family. You have a family, children, and probably the husband is doing well or the wife is doing well back home, good job, earning good salaries. I'm talking about earning like 4,000, 5,000 Canadian dollars monthly. Is it worth living all those luxurious life, good salaries, and coming into Canada? That's what we want to talk about today. Alright, so in the first place, let's talk about employment in Canada. I mean, over time I've seen new immigrants coming to Canada. Probably they're doctors, they're lawyers, striving very well back home, and they come into Canada and they find it very difficult to secure employment in Canada. I mean, professional jobs like doctors, lawyers, when you come into Canada, the truth is that you have to like start from the beginning again. I mean, for the fact that you're a doctor from wherever you're coming from doesn't mean that when you come into Canada, you start practicing as a doctor or as a lawyer. You have to take the professional exam. You have to go through the process, which could be very time consuming and could be very rigorous. If you're not so determined, you might get fizzled out very, easily. So that's something that's worth noting. I know some doctors back home from wherever they came from, and when they came into Canada and they saw the rigorous process they have to go through, they ended up driving Uber or probably in the warehouse doing some menial jobs. It could be very daunting. I mean, I'm not trying to discourage you out there. I'm just trying to pass out this information to you. So these are what you need to consider. You need to discuss with your family to know, is it worth coming into Canada in the first place? Because as far as securing a job is concerned, it can be very challenging. You have to be determined before you can actually get a good job. You get a good job, you get a white collar job in Canada, but you have to be able to sacrifice and pay your dues before you can actually get it. So if you have a very good job back home, you might want to reconsider that. You might want to talk with your family, probably bring in your family, your kids, your wife, or as the case may be, if it's the husband, the wife that has a good job, maybe the husband comes with the kids while the wife continues to strive back home on the good job. So it's something that is worth discussing with your family before you make the move. Another reason why I feel you should think about it, whether you should migrate to Canada, will be the weather. I mean, we cannot be emphasized that in Canada we have winter. I mean, winter in Canada is not something that you want to joke with. and you start feeling it as early as October, November, all through till March, April the following year. So winter in Canada is so severe. I mean, wherever you are in Canada, any of the 10 provinces you are in Canada, you'll feel it. But you feel it in some provinces more than the other. I mean, people that are in the far Yukon, you're in Saskatchewan, you feel it more. I mean, so something, whether the winter is something you want to consider. So wherever you're coming from outside Canada, you have to think about it. Okay, are you health-wise, can you live with the cold weather in Canada? Is the winter, is it worth living everything you have, the good weather you have from wherever you're coming from and coming into Canada just to go through that winter period? I mean, it could be as cold as -40, -45 in some provinces. I mean, if you're not really prepared mentally, physically, it can have a very, very bad toll on your health. So this is something that you want to think about, you want to discuss with your family. If you want to make this decision with yourself, you have to think about this before you think of migrating to Canada. Because to be sincere with you, when I first came into this country, at the point in time, I sat down and I thought about it, that is this country actually meant for me? It took a lot of courage, it took a lot of determination for me to be able to settle down and say, okay, I'm going to face this challenge. And actually, I'm doing very well now. So it's something you want to think about, because during winter period, I mean, everything is just a standstill. All you have to do is just go to work and go back home. I mean, extracurricular activities, you have to think about it twice before you engage yourself in it. So winter, I mean, is something that is worth noting. In Canada, it is not a joke. I mean, where you have snow falling, before you step out of your house, you have to shovel snow. You have to shovel snow in your car. When you're driving on the road or you're walking, whatever, you have to deal with winter. You have to deal with cold. You have to wear clothes in layers, jackets, boots. These are things that people actually need to actually think about. I mean, here it's so cold to the extent that you'll be shivering. You have to put on the gloves. So these are things that you need to actually sit down, read about, look into, and think, is it really worth coming into Canada because of this? I mean, wherever you're coming from, like take for instance, people like us that came in from Africa, which is more tropical. It's sunny here, yes, sometimes it's hot, but we have never witnessed something like this until I came into Canada. This state of coldness, never have I ever seen something like that. So this is something you want to think about, especially because of your health. Sometimes you feel that you can actually cope with this, but your health might not allow you to do that. So look at that. If it's something that you can actually contend with, then Canada will be a very good choice for you. But at the same time, like I said, discuss this with your family and see if Canada is truly worth coming in the first place. Don't forget that health is wealth. Another very important and very topical issue that you need to think about is taxing system. In Canada, it's not a joke. I mean, when you go to a store and you see the price of an item, that is just the facial value. That doesn't mean that is the value of an item, of the item truly. You have to, like in Ontario, I can tell you that the tax here is 13%. I mean, it is so huge, it is so high as compared to the United States of America, that's our neighbor. 13% is so huge. I mean, how do you define it? You go to the store, an item is to be sold for $100, but because of the 13%, you have to pay $113 just for that item. The tax is so high. I mean, when you compare it to the minimum wage, which is I think $14 in Ontario, it is so high. I mean, in addition to that, I mean, when you work here in Canada and you get your paycheck at the end of the week, or if it's bi-weekly, the amount that is being deducted as tax, federal tax, CPP, EI and stuff like that, it is so huge. I mean, take for instance, you work on a job and your pay is supposed to be $700, but by the time you see the deduction, like almost $250 is gone on tax. We are taxed so heavily in Canada. Reason being that the population of Canada is not so huge. We're just as at last 2018 population census, Canada stood at 38 million, if I'm not mistaken. And that is nothing compared to the United States of America that is going close to 400 million. So because of that, little people that are here in Canada, you are the one bearing the brunt of this huge tax system. And don't misquote me, I'm not saying that we are not seeing the value of this tax that we pay. Yeah, good roads, electricity, hydro, everything is there. But at the same time, you know, people will always complain. In as much as you cannot have enough money to save, to send to back home, your families are there, you have to get in contact with back home. People always complain. So the taxing system is something you want to think about. I mean, I can say, for an instance, where I came from back home in Nigeria, we pay tax, but it's not so much severe like this. I mean, your salaries, there are some deduction, but it's not as huge as this. So you might want to look into a situation whereby, okay, you're back home, wherever you are, where your back home is, Europe, Asia, Africa, wherever it is, and you're making good money, and those deductions are not there, you are not making so much, all those huge deduction. Then you might want to consider, oh, is it worth coming to Canada in the first place, leaving all those good salaries that you earn, lesser deductions, and coming into Canada just to discover that you have to pay through your nose because of tax. Yeah, so that's another reason why I feel it is worth discussing with your family before you make that very important step in your life. Is it worth coming in here and undergoing that deduction just all in the name of tax? Yes, while you are thinking about moving to Canada, is it worth it in the first place? Another thing again that is worth bringing to the fourth burner of the table is housing is so expensive in Canada. I mean, I'm not trying to deter you, I'm not trying to discourage you, but housing here is a big deal. I know of Ontario, I know of British Columbia, Vancouver. Housing here is not a mincemeat. I mean, either you decide to go through mortgage to buy a house outrightly, or you want to rent a home. It is not a mincemeat. I mean, back home, I could remember when I was growing up, we lived this kind of communal life that even if you don't have a house, if you rent a house, I mean, with $1,000 you can pay for $1,000 Canadian dollars, you can pay for the whole year for your rent for the whole year. I mean, an average house, right? But here, $1,000 cannot even rent. You cannot even rent a 2-bedroom flat for you and for your family. So these are what you need to practically look at and see. I mean, in a year, you could be paying like 15,000 Canadian dollars all for rent, if not more than that. I mean, so that is something you want to consider, because housing here is very, 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 very expensive. Maybe because there are lesser houses as compared to people. Something the government wants to look into to try to build more houses, affordable houses for people. Because of that, housing is so huge. I mean, the amount of money people set aside they pay for their mortgage or for their rent is so huge that if government can actually try to mitigate that, people will have enough money to save in their pocket to probably use to benefit their family both here and outside Canada. So housing is something you want to think about, you want to look into before you make that huge decision of leaving everything you have from wherever you're coming from and migrating into Canada. I mean, it's something that is worth noting. That's everything that I've been saying so far. Is Canada really worth coming in the first place? Should I leave all my family? Should I bring all my family and migrate to Canada? Is it going to be worth it on the long run? Yes, this is what you need to consider. This is what you need to think of, and that's why I decided to bring this video for you, so that in making your own decision, especially because you're outside Canada, you need information like this in order for you to make your decision. If you feel you can actually contend with some of these points, there are numerous points, but with some of these points that I've itemized, I mean, I've talked about the employment, secure employment, I've talked about weather, I talked about expensive housing, I've talked about this housing, the taxing system. Can you contend with this? Do you think that you are ready and you are well caught out for all these challenges when you come into Canada, especially as a newcomer? If you feel you can actually surmount some of these challenges, well, I'm not discouraging you coming to Canada. Canada is good for you, and I shouldn't forget to tell you that standard of living here in Canada is very huge as compared to where I actually came in from. So you might want to, because of that, override some of these challenges that I already mentioned and come into Canada. Standard, I mean, hydro, electricity, good schools, free health care, it is actually there for you. Because of that, it is what's coming. And at the same time, you don't want to say because you're probably earning good money back home, as a result of that, you want to break that ties between you and your family, whereby your families are here, and you are back home. Think about it, make a very good decision. I'm just here to guide you. I'm just giving out this information because I know they are very paramount. People need to know about this information, and that's why I feel that I should do research on it and I should dish it out for people so that they can make very good decisions as far as migrating to Canada. So if you now feel that you have any question, you have any concern, you're not clear about anything I've said, feel free to drop your question in the comment section down below. Ask me any question you're not clear about. I will try as much as possible to revert back to answer some of your queries, your questions as soon as I can. If you're new on this channel or you have been coming on this channel, you have not subscribed to this channel, please encourage your boy, subscribe to this channel. There's a notification bell beside it. Anytime I drop a video, you always be alerted when you click on the icon bell beside it. And if you enjoy this video, hit the likes button, share this video with your loved one, with your friends, till I come back to you guys with another wonderful, scintillating and very topical issue as far as migrating to Canada is concerned. Stay blessed, guys. One love.